Hello everyone, it's Robin, the Artsy Bohemian. This is going to be a very long video. I just want to tell you that right up front. I'm kind of catching up and making up for lost time. It's going to be in two parts, so I will put the time stamp below if you want to just skip ahead. The first part, I'm going to talk to you about my friend who makes these amazing masks. I'm just going to talk really quick about that, and I'll leave a link below. The second part is me showing you what's going to be for sale today. At 5 o'clock in my Etsy store, I have lots and lots of fun things that I have made, little bundles for the traveler's notebooks. And then the third part, I guess you could say, is a tutorial on how to make these pretty traveler's notebooks. So first, just wanted to say my friend Kim is an amazing seamstress, and she's literally probably made over 1,000 masks so far since the pandemic. Several of them were as a generous donation to some nursing homes and some family, and then also for the place that she works. And I told her, well, why don't you make some pretty kind of shabby chic ones, and I'll tell my people about it. So they're very reasonably priced. She's used some Tim Holtz fabrics. They're all the fabric that she uses is very good quality, and she has a few in her Etsy store. They're all kind of in the neutral palettes, except there's a couple colorful ones here. But there's pictures on the site. I'm going to leave a link below. It's Artist Treasures on Etsy. And of course I love this one. This is the Frida one, and then this Day of the Dead, the Sugar Skull ones. Those are really cool. She also has a cute little, very reasonable little kit that you can use to embellish if you want to. And she has one that she embellished here as a sample. It's not for sale, but it's just for you to get ideas on how to embellish, and it comes in this cute little package that she made. So again, her name is Kim, and she's an amazing seamstress. Like I said, she's a super professional. This is what she does for a living, and she's made quite a few of these, and she knows what she's doing. So all of the particulars and everything will be in the link below on her Etsy store. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to show you is these kits that I've been working like crazy. Really didn't have any. They're not really kits, they're more like bundles. I had no intention of doing this, but what happened was I started making all of these traveler's notebooks, and then I was like, well, maybe I should sell them, and then I thought, well, maybe I should add some extra goodies to them. So that's what I've been doing. I will show you each one of these. Two of them aren't completely done, but they will be done by the time they go up in my Etsy store. So what I am going to be giving with each one of these journals, you'll get a journal, you'll get hand-selected, real vintage, almost antique wallpaper swatches. These were from a wallpaper sample book that was huge. A huge wallpaper sample book that I've had forever. My mother-in-law gave it to me years and years ago. I always had the intention of using it in my artwork and cutting it up and maybe selling it someday, and that's what I've been doing. It's been a huge accomplishment, because whoever had this wallpaper sample book used it as a scrapbook, and so a lot of these beautiful wallpapers had pictures all over them. So I would try to tear the pictures out. I think the backs are a lot more interesting than the actual picture themselves, and then try to salvage any parts of the wallpaper that I could. It's probably at least over 100 pages at least. So all of these, I kept all of these, and if you want me to give you some, I will. I'll put them, just throw them in your package. So I spent forever taking those pieces off, exposing the wallpaper underneath, and then cutting them with pinking edges. So they're all a little bit different. I tried to coordinate them in different color palettes. They're kind of all in the same kind of pastel colors. I really tried making sure there was some beautiful florals in there. And it's the real deal. It's very brittle, and it has no paste on the back. A lot of them have writing on telling you how to put the wallpaper on them. They're all made in the United States, literally from the 20s and 30s. Very, very old. I started looking on eBay for old wallpaper, and I cannot believe how expensive it is. So I have lots of it, and I'm happy to put them in these little bundles. So they're all like this. There's about 9 pieces in here, and then I had put a little scallop of like a focal on each one. So I'm gonna have 10 for sale, and there's going to be 10 kits, or bundles I should say. And then in each bundle, because there were so many little pieces of scraps, I didn't want to throw them away. I spent a whole night just punching lots of cute little tags and little bits to put inside. So they're all a little different, but there's quite a few in here. I'm not going to take them all out, but they're all punches of different, you know, scraps that were from the leftovers. Because this paper is so precious, it feels kind of chalky. I believe they painted them or block printed them at the time. I really don't know too much about it. I just know that there's nothing like it. It doesn't feel like new wallpaper. Some of the wallpaper in here is a little bit newer, but not really. It's still pretty old. So yeah, it's been fun putting these together, and I'm happy to share them with you all in these little bundles. They're just really fun to look at and play with. And you can add them to tags with some fabric tack. And they're going to be, the little bag is going to be inside the bag here. So you'll get one of these with your journal, along with one of the cute little cutouts. You'll get 3 time cards, because all of the journals are made, have an insert with a time card. So you'll get 3 brand new time cards. You'll get 3 coin envelopes. You can do whatever you want with those. These are old school elementary writing. I don't know exactly what they're called, but I got them from a flea market, and they're really fun to use to make tags out of. You'll get a little bag of 10 original mother of pearl buttons. 2 of them will be shank buttons, so that you can make a journal if you would like, using the shank, which is the tutorial I'm going to be showing you after this. You're also going to get an original old spool, a wooden spool. All of these things I've collected over the years, and it's time to start just letting them go. I know you guys who watch me love this kind of stuff, and if I have a lot of one thing, I'm happy to, you know, share. Then there's also some very old trim on here, and you can use this on your journals too. There's about 2 feet on each spool. So you get those, and then I'm going to just kind of go through these quickly. They're all the same size. They're all different in the way they're decorated. This is actual old wallpaper on here, and you'll get tags in there that have been hand stamped. The signatures, these are just very small. They're easy to tuck inside of another like altered file folder, or a journal, a smaller journal if you have one, or even if you have a cover for a traveler's notebook. So they all have 10 signatures. They all have a time card. They have pockets on either side, or a little bag like this with tags, hand stamped tags. So that's that one. This one is made to look old. It's just a digital paper with some rayon ribbon and then some tags. This one's from My Porch Prints, which is gorgeous. And I still have to add another pocket on this. Like I said, some of these, it's getting really late here, and I just knew I had to finish this video so that it could be up for Tuesday. But there'll be more pictures of the ones that I didn't actually finish with a little bit more detail. That's a blue one, and then there's this one. This has a see-through envelope so we can see what's underneath it. And then another beautiful tag from My Porch Prints, which I love. Another one. More tags. Cute vintage ribbon there, a trim. This is a newer one that I made today, actually in the tutorial. Love these colors. This is My Porch Prints digital. She has a bundle, I think it's called Grandma's Attic, and some vintage velvet on the binding here. Little pockets. These are those part of those elementary school tags that I cut in half and made into tags. Some vintage wallpaper here. I love this color, it's real rich. It's kind of olives, and this is a tobacco colored hug snug. And this is another one I show you how to make in the tutorial coming up. Some coin envelope, more tags. These have stamping on them on the bottom. Some vintage wallpaper here, and a vellum envelope with some tags, and then the inside. It just has some old wallpaper on it as well. This one, love all of them. I love the way they came out. They're all frilly, kind of frilly, lots of bows. And this has the tag in the back here. There will be pictures on Etsy. Like I said, they'll be listed 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. It says make beautiful things every day. And more tags here. These two are not done, but they will be done tomorrow by the time I have them all up, and be pictures of them. Some vintage velvet here. All I have to do really on this one is add the button and some more ribbon. Alright, so like I said, those will be available in my Etsy store Pacific Standard Time, 5 o'clock. I'll have the link below, so just set your timer if you want so you don't miss out. All of these are available with all these fun pieces of ephemera to add to your junk journals, especially this yummy bundle of amazing wallpaper and these old original spools, wooden spools with some vintage lace on them, and the mother of pearl. So there you go. Hello everyone, this is Robin, the Artsy Bohemian. I'm here in my studio in Los Angeles, California, and I'm going to show you how to make the little traveler's notebooks that I videotaped last week. I had several of you asking for a tutorial, so here you go. So the first thing that you're going to be wanting is some paper, some decorative paper of sorts. I kind of got on a kick of using wallpaper or wallpaper knockoff papers for these little traveler's notebooks. So you can use digital downloads, like My Porch Prints has these adorable wallpaper digitals that you can just download. You can also use, Tim Holtz has a line of wallpaper papers, and this one is from Halloween, but he also has another one that's not Halloween. And then of course you can use real wallpaper, which is kind of hard to come by, but this is what I used on here. And after experimenting and using different glues, I have come to the conclusion that with real wallpaper, you don't want to use anything that's wet, like Mod Podge. You don't want to use that because it just buckles. I don't know if it's the way that the papers were made back then, but they just don't take to any kind of modern glues. You might be able to use wallpaper paste. I didn't have any on hand. I also used wheat paste, thinking that would work, and that still buckled. So what I found was that Fabri-Tac is the best one to use, probably because it has alcohol in it, I believe, or some kind of, yeah, I don't know. It smells like it has alcohol in it, and it dries quickly. So that's what I'm going to be using to glue everything together. So I wanted to show you two different styles of making these. And I used a time card as my impetus as well, as far as making it the size that they are. So if you're going to be using the Tim Holtz pre-bought paper, it comes in these small sheets. They're 8 by 5, I believe. Let me just double check. Yeah, 5 wide and 8 inches long. So the easiest thing to do is just move all these out of the way so it's not confusing. Is to take two pieces, and this is only if you want it to look like, if you want to have this kind of a border here. You're going to just take one sheet, and you don't have to cut it because it's cut to the dimensions that we need, and you're going to score it at 1 inch, I believe. Let me just double check. So if you have a scoreboard, you know, this works great. If you don't, then you're just going to use a ruler and a bone folder. Yeah, it's about 1 1/8, so you're going to score that, and that gives you your nice crisp fold over, and it gives you an automatic binding, so to speak. And then you do have to cut this piece here that goes on the front cover, and it is 3 3/4 wide, and it just slides right in there, and you're going to glue it down. And I'm going to glue it in a minute, because I'm going to show you the other one. So that's how easy that is. Now the inside is going to be, and I'm going to have all these measurements down below in the description. The inside cover, because you don't, this is kind of flimsy, this paper, so you do want to have an inside cover, and that is 7.5 inches wide by 8 inches long. And like I said, I will have the dimensions down below. So that's what I'm going to be doing and gluing together for that. And then this one's, if you're going to print out a digital like this one from My Porch Prints, you can use cardstock and print it on two sides. So print it out with the image that you want, and then print it out again, turn it upside down and print it on the other side. Or you can, if you have the option on your computer, I mean on your printer, you can flip it. Excuse me. So this one, I'm not going to be putting any borders on it, but I'm going to be decorating the binding with some really pretty velvet. So, and I'll show you how to do that as well. But this one, this is kind of neat because it gives you an automatic pocket. So regular cardstock paper is 8.5 by 11. So all you're going to do is going to have to trim this a little bit unless you want really deep pockets. So this should be probably around 10.5. So you're going to cut off about 1 inch lengthwise, and this is 7.5 inches wide, and that'll give you a nice closure. But what you're going to do is you're going to score it at the bottom so you can have a pocket at, this one I have at 2 1/8. So you could probably do 2 2.5. You can do 2.5 to yeah, you do want to do 2.5 if that's what you're going to be, if you need to have it this length. And so that gives you a length of 8 inches. So wherever you can fold it to make it that it's going to be 8 inches long, that's where you're going to fold it. And then you have an instant pocket. So you don't have to glue anything, because this is fairly thick cardstock. You can use 140 pound if you want, or even maybe 110 pound cardstock, and that's done. And all we're going to be doing is decorating that. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this down. Now, because this glue dries so fast, I kind of do it in increments. I don't put all the glue down and then try to glue down the paper, because it will dry too fast. Just got to make sure that all of the edges are covered. I'm going to do this one first, the top cover. And you can trim the corners if you want before. It's probably going to be okay if I just do it after, because I just thought about it right now. I do want to trim the corners and make them curved a little bit. So I'm just going to push that down. And I'm going to go ahead and glue this together. So you see we're getting our cover done fairly quickly. Because these papers are all coordinating, they all are in kind of the same hue. You don't have to worry about matching anything. This inside paper, I believe I just got this from Hobby Lobby probably about a year ago. And then I'm just going to glue this side here. So we have those, and then if you're just going to be doing one full sheet of the vintage wallpaper, this works great for it. Like I said, it doesn't buckle. The only problem is because it's so old and brittle, it will crack on the sides here when you fold it. After you dry it, first you're going to glue it down to your sheet, your cardstock, and then when you fold it, just be real gentle because it will crack. But that's going to be covered, that can be covered up with some pretty lace. So those are the 3 different styles that I've been playing with, all with that same kind of wallpaper look. Okay, so the covers have dried, and one other thing, if you're going to be doing this method where you fold up the sides to form pockets, you could do one of two things. You can sew it, so like this one here, it has the pockets right here. But what I did was, this had a separate piece of cardstock that I had glued to the cover. And so what I did was, once I folded it up, like I did on this one here, I sewed it on the side so it would stay closed. And then I glued the inside cover to the outside cover. This one is only one sheet of cardstock. And so because there's these openings, you're going to want to either, you can sew it if you want to. I just didn't want to change my thread, to be honest with you. So I just took a large thing of duct tape, very, very, very carefully laid it down, and that will give it a nice, pretty decorative cover. Decoration, so that it'll stay closed, and then you have your pockets. And one other thing that makes this fold a little easier is if you make a little V in the center and slice it down just a tad, and then that way, once it's folding, when you fold it, it's not going to be too bulky. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to make the insert with the time card, and with regular old filler paper, wide rule paper. I got this from the 99-cent store, I think. So I'll give you the measurements for that, and what you're going to cut, and how you're going to score the time card. So these time cards are big ones. They're like this. And here's one right here that I haven't done. So this is how they come, and they make nice trifolds to put inside of our little journals. So what you're going to do is get your scoreboard out if you have it. If you don't have a scoreboard, just use your ruler. And the measurements for this, and I fold it so that the time card is facing up where it says time card, because then that gives more writing space. So the first score is going to be at 3.5, and then the second score is going to be at 7 1/8. And then you're just going to fold it. So that's your insert. And then on the inside of that is going to go your paper. The paper is cut at 6 3/4 by 7 1/2. I already have it pre-cut, so you can do that on your own and figure it out. Like I said, I'll have the dimensions down below. So then, once you have your paper cut, so here's some paper that I had cut ahead of time. You're going to only add the signatures to the left-hand side. And you're going to make sure they're centered. And then you're going to take clothespins and hold down both sides and insert it into your journal. Also center that. And we're going to be punching holes, so if you have an old Yellow Pages or some kind of book that you use to punch your holes for your signatures, for your binding, go for it. Just makes it easier to poke holes into your journal and your pages. So I am going to be punching 6 holes, 2 in the center, 2 on the top, and 2 on the bottom. And use an awl if you have it. If you don't have an awl, use a large needle. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball the center here. So I'm going to do, they're only about like 3/8 of an inch apart, the holes. So there's my first. And then I'm just going to go down about an inch from the top and poke 2 more holes. And then about an inch from the bottom. You can measure those if you want to. It's such a small signature, I don't really see the need to do that. So you have your holes on the side here. And then I'm going to be binding it with ribbon. I like using Hug Snug, so I'm going to show you the colors I'm going to be using for this particular one. It's one of my favorite colors. It's Aquarelle. And this is the name of it right here. Aquarella by Hug Snug. For those of you, somebody had asked last time, so I'll leave a link down below with the Etsy store for the Hug Snug. So what you're going to do is just going to keep these all together here. Oops, that wasn't pinned down. Just going to keep that to the side. You're going to cut 3 pieces at 10 inches long, and you do want to cut them at an angle like this, because it's easier to put your needle in. So they're going to have a little bit of a point. So get a large-eyed needle and insert your ribbon, and you're going to need pliers because the holes, you can make bigger holes if you want to. It might make it easier to pull the ribbon through, at least the first one anyway. So you're going to start on the outside. Actually, you know what I think I'm going to do first? Darn it, I didn't think about this. I need to glue down some, I should have done that on this one here. I'll do this again on this one, because I'm not going to be gluing any trim down. Like this one, I didn't. I'm probably going to be adding some trim there. Okay, so before you poke holes, if you're going to be putting trim on, put the trim first, let it dry, and then you can poke the holes. I'm not worried about it. I'm going to go ahead and just do it and then re-poke the holes because I already know where they're at, so it's not going to be a big deal. So I'm going to put some of this really beautiful colored, this is like one of my most favorite colors, this aqua color. And this is some vintage velvet trim, and I've never been able to find this color. I don't have much of it left. This is just almost the end of it. So I'm going to just do a little bit at a time. This is with the fabric tack as well, and I'm going to kind of center it. Like I said, it dries quick, so I only do little bits at a time. Holding it down until it dries, and I'm going to set this to the side till it's completely dry. And so I'm going to show you the binding. So this one I went ahead and poked the holes in it, and I'm going to bind it. Now for this one, I'm also using Hug Snug, but it's another color. It's called Tobacco, and it matches really nice with this particular color scheme. So I'm going to go ahead and cut 3 of these at 10 inches each. And then I'm going to kind of scrumple them up so that they don't look so they look a little bit, you know, not so perfect. Two and then 3. Yeah, so this one's tobacco. Oh, wait. It says tobacco and then it says mere brown, so I'm not sure what that is. That's not my writing. Either mere brown or tobacco. Look for either one of those. Maybe it was one name at one point and then they changed it. Okay, and then I'm just going to take these and scrumple them in my hands. And they get all nice and wrinkly. And then we're going to sew our seam binding into the binding here. You will need pliers to pull it unless your holes are bigger than mine. This awl, it's a pretty big awl, but the holes aren't that big. You really don't want them that big anyway because it just kind of makes everything loose. So I'm going to start from the outside because my bows are going to be on the outside. Pull it through, and this will take a little bit of elbow grease. Pull it through and then go the other way. And then I'm going to tie a bow on each, for each ribbon. Oops, this is kind of ripping. Make them even. And then tie the bow. And then I'm probably going to wind up trimming it a little bit. But it's better to have a little bit more so that you can make a nice bow. Tie it really tight. And then these are going to be layered with more bows, unless you don't want it. You know, that's up to you. So I'm going to do the other 2. You can use a tapestry needle if you want to for this. This is a nice long needle. It's one of my favorite needles to use. Let's see here. Just making sure it's even. And I'll come back after I do the last one here. Okay, so I'm gonna show you what I did here, and but first I wanted to just finish decorating this brown one. I really like these colors. I think they're pretty. So I decided to take some, make some more bows like this, and you can either sew them on, because this is how they're going to go. They're just gonna add them to the existing bows here. You can either sew them or glue them. For the sake of the video, I am going to glue them with my really, really hot glue gun. And then I'm going to show you how to make a chunky little bow for the closure, and how I put the elastic on, and the little shank button to hold the elastic closure. And you can go back in and trim some of this if you want to. I like how fluffy it looks. I'm probably going to trim a little bit. And I'm going to glue some trim here. So I found some of this. All of this is really old. And this, so I'm just going to glue this down with the fabric tack. Bring this up a little bit more. Oops, it's a little bit stretched out here. And then I'm just going to go ahead and trim the excess. And I had added, I'm going to show you what I did. I'm going to do to add a little vellum pocket in there. Nothing's new, everything's just, you know, just everybody has a different way of doing things, so nothing I'm showing you is that extraordinarily inventive or new. So now I'm going to take the tobacco, here it is, Hug Snug, and I'm going to do a chunky little bow with long tails. So hope this is focusing well. So I'm going to take, I want it to have a kind of a long tail on the edge here, and I'm just going to take 2 fingers and wrap it around 3 times. 1, 2, 3. That might be a little bit too. And then pull it off my fingers and then cut it. And I'm gonna tie the center, and this is gonna get all fluffed out. Actually, I think what I'll do is, before I put that one on, I might do this one. And another lace one I have. Find the center and then pull it tight. And I'm going to flail these out. Oops, pull it too tight. And then I'm going to add probably some more lace. Squish it and roll it up. And I might add some of this. Kind of rip it a little bit. And I think I'm going to add a little bit more of this. And this will probably go in the back, or maybe kind of hidden in the folds here. I just keep messing with it until I like the way it looks. I spend a lot of time doing this with bows. And it's going to go to the side here, and I'm going to put a little bit of elastic under it. Just going to glue that in there. And I normally would sew it, but I'm not going to. And I'm going to cut some elastic, really tiny elastic. It's only 1 millimeter. So what I do is I'll kind of just figure out where the button's going to go on the back end, like that. It's about 3 inches usually. I'll just go ahead and cut it 3 inches. and then double it and tie it in a knot at the very end. And bring the knot all the way down like that. You can find this in the jewelry section, usually in craft stores, when you're able to go again. I might put a button or something here, maybe a green one, but I'm gonna just finish this part. So I'll go like this. I'm gonna kind of just glue that down. And you can, you can put it up high if you want to, kind of play around. I think I kind of like it here. Just make sure you have enough. You don't want too much and you don't want too little of the elastic. So that's going to go there, kind of cement that in. And I'm going to put this here. I'm going to put a little bit more glue underneath that, but once that's dry, we'll add the shank button in the back. Add a little more glue. Make sure everything stays. And so I have my shank button here. It's an old mother of pearl button. For those of you who don't know, a shank has like a little bail on the end. So what I will do is you can take a pencil or a pen. Let me see if I have a pencil here. Nope, that's a paintbrush. I might just poke a hole. I have a pen here. So take your elastic here in the back and bring it towards the back, and don't pull it tight. You're going to just keep it so that it's not completely stretched out, and make a mark, because that's where you're going to punch a hole to put your shank. And it might go a little bit over and punch into the envelope, but I'm going to be careful. I think I might do it just a bit above the envelope. So this is I believe this is an 1/8 inch hole punch, and I'm going to punch a hole right up there. I'm going to put the shank in there and then add some ribbon. And it's best to have it so that it's pointy like that. And then just kind of twist it, and it should go through the shank, no problem. Then pull it and then tie it. That's all you do. And then it closes. Cute. And so then you can add other things to it if you want. I added a little coin envelope in the back, and I put a swatch of vintage wallpaper, and then I made some cute little tags. These are tags I made from I believe they were from old elementary schools where children would write on them, and they came like this. I got them at a flea market. So I cut them in half, and then I made some little journaling cards, and you can stick them in there. And what did I just put some vintage wallpaper here. I'm going to add another envelope, and all I did was I took some vellum. I measured from how wide this was, and that's how, when I cut this, I did the same thing. It was cut the same width, but then I folded it on 3 sides, and I'm going to glue that down. I also punched a hole. By the way, vellum doesn't work really well with hole punches. It kind of messes it up. And that's about it. they're really fun to make because they're fairly quick, especially since I've already made the design. Now I can follow my own pattern. And the only problem I have is I keep wanting to change things and add different papers and figure different ways to put bows on and stuff like that. So that's the part that takes a long time, but that's the fun part, right? I hope you enjoyed that. Let's see if I have a green button I can put away. Oopsie. Nope, those are all my red ones. Well, I'm probably going to put some kind of cute little button right there. And add some more tags. One other thing I wanted to show you was I added little tuck spots, I guess you could call, little side pockets. I have a die cut that makes these beautiful cards, and so what I did, I had some left over from some stuff I had done a while ago, and I cut them in half and I laid those in the some of these. So I think I'm going to do that on this one maybe. So all I did was fold it so that I knew where the center was and cut it. And then you can, and this one goes like that. It's better to, I think, if they go like this way, so I don't know, I might use this for something else. I don't really like the way that looks, unless I turned it this way. And then it kind of gets in the way. Anyway, that's what I did for most of the ones in the front. I don't think I'm going to use those for the back. Let's see if I can find one here. Not that one. Let's see. Did I do this one? Yeah. So this one I did like that. I made a pocket with half of that cut up. Okay, I think that is it. I had made this one. This is one of the pockets that we had done, and then I put a little piece of wallpaper there, and then there's the other pocket on this side. So I'm just going to add some more bows like I did to all of these. I'm going to really put a lot of bows on here, another big bow on here, and I'll be done. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye.